That is our... I wanted the showers to come through the screen.
Yeah,
so
coming through the screen, there's the thunder going. Special effects, folks. Special effects.
You know, like how we make people like appear and then disappear.
Right, just for you to get the vibe of what's the weather gonna be like.
I see what we did there. Okay.
Channel 7 doing their thing.
Doing their many things, definitely. So we are here, guys, ready for a dynamic, exciting conversation as always. You ready, Kev?
I am ready.
We got that rapper look going on, you know. I realize what your whole pants and the vibe we have. But you know, the only thing is, right? You have this cute rapper look because you have the pretty pearl chain to it. So I see how you mix it up a little bit like bad boy, but still good bad boy. You understand? I see what you did there. I'm watching you, honey bunch of oats.
Yeah, I make good boys go bad.
So
right, folks, let's get started with our couch talk. So Mr. Yohnny Rosado has been on the spotlight for a couple weeks now, and he has even been hosting press conference because in what he shared yesterday, he wants to clear his name.
Yes.
Basically, he's in the spotlight a couple weeks ago when his vehicle was taken by the police department, given that allegedly it's part of a stolen vehicle ring that's going on in the U.S.
Yes.
So according to him, he was completely clueless that there was such ring going on, that he legitimately got his vehicle from the buyer, and he's saying that if it wasn't for Minister Marconi Leal that signed his customs entry, then he would have never been in this mess. Right? He's saying that he feels that he is the one that is taking the licks, while none of the other folks that were involved in importing this vehicle have been in no way affected by it. So he's reaching out to like the different persons involved that have been saying, you know, he's part of this ring, Commissioner Chester Williams, Minister Marconi Leal, and saying, we want an apology from y'all. So that's one side of this very, very interesting press conference that he hosted yesterday. And the other one was an example of clientelism at its best, if I can say that. Being
entitled clientelism, you're right. Like, when I listened, I had to watch the interview twice just to make sure I did get it correct, Judge.
Right.
You understand?
Because, I mean, who admits such
Who admits to giving a bag of $50,000 to support the campaign? And then later on saying now that he's going to support the next party, like outright in this press conference here, I'd be like straight up. You know what? I will support the next party. I will support the UDP, blah, blah, blah. So this not happen again. I'm like, wait, what? What am I watching here? Then not only admitting about giving the money to support the campaigns for the PUP, saying, you know, they win because he basically for that support. But also talking about, you burn your bus?
His $40,000 bus. Yeah. And he gave tires as well for Mr. Giovanni Brackett to light on fire. So he's basically saying he has been really deeply involved in the People's United Party and their campaign. Again, as he shared, like he gave them $50,000. So it's the first time somebody has really come up front and saying, hey, I gave this political party money. Like, we haven't heard of such things before, so quite a first.
I know, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, wait, you want to clear your name, but I feel like you just gone more into the water and the deep and the muck and everything too as well.
Right.
Admitting to all these things, you know, talking about how he's never met Minister Leal before. And then Minister Leal was, you know, saying that, you know, he was just doing a friend a favor, stuff like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, there's so many things wrong. And this press conference, I know how a bunch of you want to make this supposed to help and clear your name, but I feel like this make you just look more, you know, it makes you look worse other than anything, to me. Because I'm like, okay, I didn't even know these stuff. Now this is all that's been happening?
Yeah, but again, it goes back to the reflection of what clientelism is, right? And then the entitlement that comes with it. The fact that I gave you $50,000 to support your party means that I'm entitled to some favor. For instance, my vehicle should have never been taken away from me, all right? Because I could have called somebody and somebody could have probably fixed this issue without it being out there in the big scene. So, and then Minister Marconi Leal doing a favor for a friend. So let's wait and see when this backfires on him as well and say, hey, I did that favor for you, now you have to do something for me.
And that's how it works in politics.
Yes, and it really is bizarre, and really it's disheartening to see that politics will never change.
No.
Right? Governance will never change because this is so cyclical. I do you a favor, eventually I will come back and request something in return.
And that's the thing, there's probably so many businessmen just like himself that we're just not seeing them, that don't come out, and because it never backlash pandemic like this, they never had to get the, the bad end of the stick. And so many of them probably fuel and put money and funds into the different campaigns. And then when that time comes around, when they need to get a contract or they need to get at least some at least slide deal. Well, honey bunch, did you remember when I gave you that money? Do you remember the bag? Do you remember, the check or whatever it is? All right, help me out because I've helped you. And again, this is why, politics is such a dirty game. And it's so hard, for us to see things happen with a bit of transparency and accountability, because it's always going to be this case, because you're always going to feel like, okay, because I help you, you must help me. And sometimes you're not the person that's supposed to be getting the contracts. You're not supposed to be getting those certain favors because it's not benefiting the other people. But because of you in the initial stage giving and helping, now you feel entitled, and also the party, most of the time or sometimes, supporting you will feel entitled or not obligated, to support whatever concerns or favors you need.
Yeah. I mean, who gives a boss, right, to just be lit on fire?
Well, if you got $50,000 in a bag, Papa, I guess, the boss are nothing to you, I guess.
For sure.
And admitting to all of those things, one after the other, when I first had the $50,000, I was like, okay, all right, I had to try register. Then when he admit about burning the, I'm like,
right.
Hey?
So talking about accountability and people that are not having it was the United Democratic Party, who took the streets yesterday in Belize City to basically protest against the current government as it regards to the high inflation rates, the high cost of fuel, the overall corruption within the system.
Which there very much is.
We do have some footage of what happened there on. What are your thoughts on what happened yesterday when it comes to this protest?
I found it, one thing, I'm always about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, going out to, whatever you feel needs to be done in peaceful manners, because it's not like anything to get broke up about the place or so, or there's any fight. I prefer protest in this manner. I'm happy to see, they actually got a turnout towards it, because I never know how because things look very divided with them. My question is, one protest is not enough.
Right.
So my effectiveness is wondering, okay, is it going to be every day you go out to do this? What's going to be happening? Because protests, in history has played out that, they're very lovely, but they have to be to a certain magnitude, a certain depth, that they are very effective. And so my thing is, yes, we've got out the people, maybe 200 or so. I'm not too sure how much numbers or so. But at the same time, how much times we're going to be doing this? How are we going to really let the government understand our cries, our pleas, that we're here, that we're ready, that we want to have these conversations, that we need accountability, that we need things changed, that, people are suffering in the streets? Because one protest is not enough. I'm appreciative of the initiative. Don't get me wrong. I understand it. I commend it. I'm happy to see people come out, because yesterday I'm hot. And to make you go walk through the heat and everything there, not a lot. Right. So I appreciate it. But again, how much of this will we see?
That's true. I mean, we definitely need, it needs to continue with the momentum if you want to have an impact, as you're right.
Exactly.
What sticks out for me from this is the fact that all of what's going on with inflation rate and all of these things that they were protesting against is political currency.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's a momentum that they will use to garner support for their party. I mean, we've seen it before. In the past, we saw our current Prime Minister, John Briceño, walking along, the teachers when they were protesting, and look at him now and the current situation. Yeah, so, I mean, we've seen this been played before. What I've seen some comments on Facebook, and something that I agreed with, was the fact that this current party that was organizing the protest, their credibility isn't really there, right? So how will you join hands and come out in this protest with a party that has very poor credibility? Because whatever situation we're going through now is not something that happened overnight.
That's true.
This is something that has been going on for years under the administration of the United Democratic Party. So, I mean, yes, it's good to see that you want to make a change now, but You are like...
What happened when you made
Exactly.
For 13 years?
Yeah. So we're seeing the effects of that trickling now. I mean, COVID and all of these things have basically pushed it like a lot forward to where we are now. But the credibility of this party doing things and the political currency, I really like, I'm not sure if they really do have the people at heart, or is this just a movement?
Another political facade?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's a thing to think about too as well. And that's a sad part when it comes to politics in this country. You never really know if whoever party is doing what they're doing for actual people, or just doing it to get votes at a later time, get support. And that not sit well with me. Because I'm like, genuinely, when you start a party, when you create a movement, it's because you want to see justice, you want to see, you know, change. And sometimes it's more than that for them. It's more about an agenda.
Yeah.
Is it that case in this way? I know I say yes or no, but I mean, of course, we know how politics plays out. What is interesting also about this overall case is just the fact that, you know, they were in the colored area and we didn't have Honorable Patrick Faber supporting this. And I know when asked if his delegates were there, they was like, yes. And I was like, okay, let me see.
Yeah, and where is he? He's probably out of the country.
Yeah, he was out of the country. I'm like, I know everybody candidate. I understand that, don't get me wrong, right? But we do also know that there are that whole Facebook political feuds that are happening right now too as well. So to not see you come together, I mean, you're coming strong on this topic, yes, but are your people with you? Are your people, because you seem much more divided than we want you to be too as well. So you have a good amount of bunch on the lead, like, yes, change, blah, blah, blah. And then the others are standing in the back. And then also, like you've mentioned, like, who wants to go and try to support a party that does not have it together to a certain stance? Because we say a million and one things about the PUP administration, but for the most part, they got each other back. And they're, for the most part, like, keeping that stance, even to the point where you have the Prime Minister and Minister Mahler having the same kind of stance when it comes to, like, attacking Courtney and all of these things. So they're legit, they keep that flow going, you understand? So when you look at what party has it together, regardless of what that party is doing, what do the people really might want to side with?
Yeah, right.
That's something to think about.
At the end, we hope to see, you know, more people taking action to go against, you know, what's the current state of governance, what is the current state of our livelihood, because we need to make some changes. And I hope that civil society organizations, other community groups decide to, you know, take the stance as well and come together and, you know, let's fight for a change.
Definitely. And I mean, it's bigger than a party. I really hope that people put aside the party and put up the change that we want to have. So let people join in and forget about, I don't want it to be a UDP protest. I honestly want us to take that title off and let it just be a change protest, we're pushing for more, for the cost of living to go down, for our people to be heard. I would really hope us to take that stance, and that way more people will start to join in, because when you put party in it, people are like, I'm not too sure. And, you know, I saw a person put in the comments here, like, credibility of a party means little at this time. In my view, the real issue is about inflation. Maybe doing it with a party is not the way, but somebody must lead the charge, and it's a good start, which I totally agree that we do need these type of movements. We do need stance. We need continuous stance too as well. It's a good start to have it one day. I want to see what comes from it more, if it's petitions, if it's, you know, more, you know, protests or whatever it is. I want to see it materialize. I want to see people stand up, because that's how we get and effect real change. We need to push forward. So hoping we put aside the party and put up for the country. So let's see how that plays out.
Yeah. Moving on with our next Couch Talk item. So some stats have been released by the Belize Tourism Board as in regards to the International Food and Music Festival. Of course, we have been having this conversation because we wanted to know, you know, did profits really come out of this event? And of course, when Minister Mahler was asked about it, he was quite on the defensive about these stats, right? So on face value, and we're saying this because this is like an in-house report that's coming on. This is not external audit conducted on this event. They made up about $51,000 in profit from the 2 days of the event. So the video also contains several statistics as in regards to, you know, how much persons came to the island, what was the hotel, intake, and all of those things. So according to this video, it basically highlights that this was quite a productive festival, if we can say that. However, again, it's important that an external audit be done so we can really know what went on in this event.
No, definitely. I think, a breakdown to a certain extent would help. We can't really argue with their numbers at this present moment. I wouldn't want to do that because I'm not trying to say anybody's lying or anything like that because, like I said, I was there and I saw the influx. There was...
You were not there.
Yes, I was there, but you silly. But definitely, I saw there's so many people buying tickets. There were so many people buying food. So when I saw the interviews with Elvis Kitchen, I went with the mojito restaurants and all these different things, I could clearly understand, like, yes, they had some really good business. People were coming back for more. Like, definitely I can say that there was economic prosperity happening for those 2 nights, that many people were buying so much general tickets. So they were just buying tickets in general, right? And I can see that happening when it comes to golf carts. You know how we go with San Pedro when it comes to golf carts. They're limited amount. So when a business owner say all gone or all our hotel rooms gone, I could believe that because there were so many people to accommodate all of them. Of course, you're going to sell out. So I can see where these numbers can come from, but I would want a better breakdown too as well, just to see, feasibility. Because you can't just give me a big number and say one night this is what happens. I would want to just go a little bit more in depth. I'm not going against your numbers, but I just want to see, it flesh out a little bit more. Yeah. Because that's definitely allowing for a bit more transparency. Not doubting that they had so much people coming in, because that field is huge. And the way how it was like separated, it's not allowing you to see how much people are there because of how it was set up. And there are also the cases where people come in just to see certain artists and they left after that, but they still buy a ticket. So there's all these different things you have to take into consideration when it comes to people coming, how much people are there. So I'm saying I'm not arguing that, but I'm also saying I would want to see a better breakdown to see what's happening. And see, as you can see on the screen there, they're showing just like the videos. There were several different business owners that were interviewed. Artists were talking about it, which is really good. I understand that the funds, the 51,000 profit is going to be used.
The qualitative report was really good, right?
Yeah.
In terms of interviewing these folks and sharing, what their experience was like. As regards to the quantitative one, we still would like to see more details in that. Just to give, the audience a comprehension of really what went on there. Overall, it's good to see that there was like $51,000 in profit, given the investment that was done. So and one thing that came out also from this video is the fact that profits are going to be used
that was what I was getting at just now.
to establish music houses. So there's going to be one in Orange Walk, one in Belize City,
studios,
and one, I think, down south. So it's good because there's going to be seeing how the local music industry will benefit from this event. So if you want to tune into that video, you can find it on YouTube. And we move on to our last Couch Talk item. And this is about an MS-13 member that was detained in Belize. So his name is Eric Alberto Lucero, alias Roquero. And he was apparently hiding in the country. And then he was, authorities from El Salvador have been looking for him because he's MS-13, but he has a pretty dangerous person in El Salvador. So thankfully, he was captured by Belizean authorities. He has already been extradited to El Salvador, where he's facing at least 30 years in prison. Yeah.
Wow. These are things when you see it come out on news, it's not something that's surprising me. Because obviously we know that people can get entry into our country. People can use the back doors, people can do different little things and it can happen. I think it just always concerns me, like the type of people sometimes that come in the country, the influences that they can be able to have. If people are just wondering what tipped the police officers off, is just basically the tattoo, because that is what is used to identify if somebody is in specific type of gangs based on the tattoo. So the one that we're showing there that allows you to know, that you are in the MS-13 gang. And just, it's really just for us to be a lot mindful of, who is in our country.
Right. And it's so crazy, right, to think that, wow. I've heard stories like in Belmopano of this going on, but to see, the police doing their thing, it's like, wow.
But now you understand why people have all the lead checks and stuff like that. Sometimes they're so annoying, of course, right? But the police are looking for things. Sometimes they get tips and so forth, and they're just trying to protect us. So, abide, guys, abide. Just like, I know you feel annoying. Sometimes they take long to do whatever it is, but let's work with it because it's very important that we do this. So it's very important. With that, guys, we go to our commercial break. When we are back, we're going to be talking about comedy. You know, a new amazing free workshop that we're facilitating too as well on Wednesday and Thursday, and also a comedy night that's happening from the Optimist Club 501 Belize. So exciting news. If you love laughter, if you know someone that loves laughter, you know, send them the link and let them know that it's time to tune in to Sun Up, and let's get that whole idea and logistics on the roll so you can be able to know where you need to be and who you need to, you know, pinpoint to where they need to be as well. So without any further ado, we go to our first commercial break. Do we have a sunrise? And we do. Who is this courtesy of? I am not quite sure. Oh, okay. Everett one finally come out. I said, I forget how you look at now. This is from what's happening with these guys in San Pedro. And so Everett, you say we play your thing, Papa. It take with 10 years. The Jews fault, no, the Jews fault that he pushing sunrise.
Thank you.
If you try to push it down, it moves now.
Yeah.
But anyways, with that, guys, we're gonna go to our first commercial break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.